Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Paranormal than Normal presents Paranormal Primetime. Sorry we missed last week, folks. It was just a little hectic. But we are back to bring you the next two episodes of Season 4. Joining me always, my faithful co-host, Malachi.
Hello, everybody. Oop, I'm going to bring that back up.
Well, folks, we have two pretty cool Monster of the Week episodes to talk about this week, so let's get right into it. And Malachi can do his episode first, as always.
Okay, so mine is Supernatural Season 4, Episode 13, After School Special. It was written by Andrew Dabb and Danielle Lofton. I don't think we've heard those before.
Yeah, I think they're
yeah. And directed by Adam Kane, which I don't recall happening. It starts off, you got this girl who's getting picked on, getting called a slut, and then another bigger, heavy-set boom baddie girl says, "It's okay." And the cheerleader girl makes fun of her. Next thing you know, we see him in the bathroom, and the heavy-set girl just starts smashing her face against the window and kills her. So we switch to Sam and Dean. They find out about this. I still don't understand why they would have came for just that. But Sam's in there interviewing her, and she's saying that she's possessed, but she didn't see any black smoke or smell any sulfur. And she thinks, like, Sam's asking retarded questions at this point. But they still, he gets back with Dean. They're skeptical about it being a possession, but this school that they're at, Sam and Dean actually went to. So we find this, and there's like flashbacks back and forth. Sam and Dean had went there for like a month, and as they're driving, Dean asks Sam, "Why do you care about this place so much?" But the home of the bombers. So they went there for a month in 97. We do the flashback of Sam and Dean getting dropped off to another school. It's the third school they have attended that year alone, and it's only November. So, I mean, what is that, 2 months, 3 schools?
Yep.
So Dean's being a real cool fucking Fabio Fonz type of character, and Sam's just doesn't even seem to want to make friends. He makes friends with this nerdy kid, Barry Cook, who's being bullied by a bigger kid, Dirk McGregor. So the teacher assigns them a class essay to write their most memorable family experience. Then we switch back to Dean, who is flirting with girls in the classroom. So then we go back to the present, and Sam and Dean infiltrate the school. So Dean pretends to be the gym coach while Sam's the janitor. And Dean is having a lot of fun. He's got his fucking whistle. He's got the kids playing dodgeball, making them run laps. He's like a fucking shark in water there. So Sam can't find any sulfur on the school grounds, and they're wondering if this is even a case. They're about to leave, and then a student in an economics class jams somebody's hand into a blender while they're cooking something. So now they think, yeah, maybe it's not a demon possession, but the kid had ectoplasm leaking, so it might have been a ghost possession. At this time, they haven't really heard of a lot of ghost possessions. I don't know. I think they've never dealt with one, right? They've only heard about it at this point.
Yeah.
So they're going through the school, seeing if anybody died horrifically in the school from something or rather. And they find out that Sam's friend Barry committed suicide. And they're thinking that since this kid Barry was picked on by everybody, his ghost is coming back and picking on people for revenge. And then we flash back when the bigger kid Dirk stops little Sam and the kid who killed himself, and he's fucking with him. And then that Dirk kid punches Sam, and it kind of gets broken up. And then that's about the end of that. So Sam and Dean, they go, they salt and they burn the bones, and Sam's feeling guilty about it the whole time because this kid, maybe if he would have stayed there longer, he could have helped this kid get some confidence. He wouldn't have killed himself. Yada, yada, yada. And Sam remembers the conversation with his teacher. It was his favorite teacher out of all the schools he went to, because this teacher calls him in and asks him about the werewolf story Sam did for his essay about his family experience, and says it's supposed to be like a true story, not a fiction. And but he tells him he doesn't have to go into the family business, and he can be a writer, and he can do whatever he wants. And Sam took that to heart. What do we got here? Okay, so now as Sam's walking in the hallway, all of a sudden, this little Asian girl attacks him and knows him by his name. So this little high school Asian girl attacks Sam, and they find out that maybe it's not the school, because all of these kids ride the same school bus, and then they're talking about, the ghost can ride the person all the way to a place, but then it dissipates back to where the fuck it possessed them at. So they're checking the bus for EMF, and Dean opens the glove compartment and finds out that the driver's license is for Dirk McGregor, the bully's father. So they go and interview this guy. Oh, then we flash back to Sam getting picked on by this Dirk guy again, who fucking hits him, and then Sam kicks his ass, and then everybody starts saying Dirk the jerk, and they go fucking interview the guy's father, and come to find out this kid had died of a drug overdose, and his mother had died, and it was a real sad story, and that's why he was a bully in school. And then he complained about being called Dirk the jerk and all the sad, sappy shit. They asked the dad, it was funny, they're asking the dad, what happened to the bones? He says he was cremated, and Dean's like, was there all of them? All of them was cremated? And he's like, well, I saved a lock of his hair. And Dean's, well, can we see that? I thought that shit was funny.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, I mean, they eventually go back. At this point, the brothers continue the search. Yeah, so they're searching the bus. They're trying to find the Bible where his fucking lock of hair is, and they can't do it. So when they return to the high school, Sam finally have his good. Oh yeah, then he goes and talks to the Mr. Wyatt teacher. What do we got? Broom closet. Well, eventually they fucking get into a fist fight with Ghost Dirk in the bus, and that's a long drawn out thing, and they burn the hair, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, it wasn't that eventful of an episode, but it was a good episode.
Yeah, it was okay. It was a lot more you'd have to see for the flashbacks of Sam and Dean.
Yeah, I mean,
think that was the most of the episode.
Yeah, it was kind of a peek back at their life as kids.
It gets into a lot where fucking Dean's, he's going after this girl, and he's hooking up with this girl, and how sad his life is that he lives in a motel room, and then she finds out that he's cheating the day before they leave, and she tells him she feels sorry for him, and Dean feels like a piece of shit. And on the other end of that, this is the only school Sam went to where he met a friend, and he was like the hero that beat the bully up, and that was the
Yep.
main part of the story.
So what would you rate this episode?
I'd give it a 3, if that.
Yeah, I'd give it a 3.5. It was funny, and it was a decent Monster of the Week episode. You could watch it without knowing the show.
Yeah, it was funny.
But
Ghost was kind of lame and mostly just nostalgic Sam and Dean past type of a thing.
Yep. Well, my episode, season 4, episode 14, which was called Sex and Violence. It was written by Catherine Humphris and directed by Charles Beeson. And this was another Monster of the Week episode. We started off with a guy, we later find out is Adam Benson, coming home from work late. His wife, who we find out later his name is Vicky, is making dinner and teasing him about being late. He gets angry, but apologizes right away. She tells him that she accepted an invitation to a friend's birthday on Saturday. He gets angry again, and this time he picks up a meat tenderizer and just bashes the fucking shit out of her. Quite an opening scene, I'll say. But we see title scene, and we flash forward to Dean waking up in a motel room, and he hears Sam in the bathroom talking to someone on the phone, talking about demonic signs. When Sam comes back out into the bedroom, and Dean pretends to be asleep horribly, and when he gets up, Sam says he was talking to Bobby about murders in Bedford, Iowa, where 3 men have killed their wives. So they head out to Iowa, and they pose as attorneys. They visit Adam, who is very remorseful about the whole thing, and confesses he was deeply in love with a stripper called Jasmine. Because that's a stripper name, 100%. That's a stripper name. Adam says he knows nothing about Jasmine other than that she works at a club called the Honey Wagon, which is a great strip club name. I will give it that. The Honey Wagon. Yeah. But Sam, in the meanwhile, goes and visits Dr. Kara Roberts, the doctor who did the autopsy of all the victims, and she took blood samples, she later tells him. And she tells Sam that the men had high levels of oxytocin in their blood, a hormone associated with being in love. When Dean comes in, he immediately sees that Sam and Dr. Roberts are flirting, and he gets all sad about it because that's usually his thing. But he's still happy because it's an actual case involving strippers. But so the boys decide to go to the Honey Wagon, and they found that the man in every murder fell in love with a different stripper. And Bobby tells them that they might be dealing with a siren, which, for those who don't know, a siren is a creature originally from Greece, but all over the world. And they're the ones that sing on rocks in the ocean to lure sailors into their doom. But basically they disguise themselves to be the perfect mate to lure men in, even though when you actually see them, they're ugly as all shit. But they go at the club. We see a guy that we find out later is Lenny Bristol, is in love with a stripper called Belle. And they go back to his house, where this young-ass guy, Lenny, is caring for his sick mother. And after he fucks this stripper, and probably catches some nice AIDS while at it, she tells him that they can be together forever if he kills his mother, which I forget what the fuck he exactly grabbed. He grabbed something and went into her bedroom, and literally we just hear screaming as he's killing his mother. I forget what he grabbed. It's not coming to me.
Yeah, I was watching in the store on a small screen. I didn't see.
Well, the next day, we see Dean in the hotel room alone, where he dials the last number on Sam's phone, and Ruby answers, and he immediately hangs up. Sam returns. What's he going to do when Ruby is like, hey, why'd you hang up last time? Next time she talks to Dean. Next time she talks to Sam. Yeah.
We had that whole episode the last time we did a show where fucking Sam broke down why he trusts Ruby, and I thought we were over all that.
Yeah, this show likes to go in circles sometimes. But Sam comes back with the news of a murder committed by Lenny, and Bobby calls and informs the boys that the spell the men are under is some kind of venom. And the only way that they can kill the siren is with the bronze dagger dipped in blood from one of its victims. So she could be poisoned with her own venom, kind of like how you kill a basilisk, according to Harry Potter lore. But the hard part about it, though, Bobby says, is trying to find somebody that's currently under the spell before they do something stupid and are not under the spell anymore. So the boys go back to visit the hot doctor. They want to get a blood sample taken from one of the men while he was still under the siren spell. They are met by a guy who introduced himself as Nick Monroe, an FBI agent, and he challenges their legitimacy as actual FBI agents. They tell him to call the supervisor, and this is when we see one of the greatest things Supernatural ever did. And he calls somebody, and we see Bobby with a very cute kitchen apron on, answering the phone, and Bobby has phones on his wall labeled FBI, police, CIA, and all these different organizations just so they could always have someone to call if they need to. So apparently we find out that the boys have all these different business cards for each of their fake occupations with Bobby's number on each one.
That would not have been cheap back in the day.
But after Bobby tells him to basically stop bothering him with this useless shit and wasting his time, Monroe is happy with it, and he reveals that he found the link between them and the strippers, and Sam suggests Dean go on with him to keep him busy back to the strip club while Sam gets a blood sample. As they're leaving, Nick, the other agent, the real agent, starts to woo over Dean's car, and at the club, him and Dean start bonding over drinks and classic rock trivia. And Nick tells Dean that he found a flower, a hyacinth, at the scene of each crime, and a flower that Dean remembers seeing in Dr. Roberts' office. So we go back to the hospital, and Sam and the doctor are finding the blood samples missing, and there's no clues in the security tapes as to the thief. Sam reveals the version of the theory to her that the men were drugged. They share a drink, talk about relationships. The doctor comes on to Sam, and he responds enthusiastically. Ignores Dean's call, and they have hot sex in her office. Sam's been getting laid a lot lately. But
yeah, not so much for Dean. Well, I guess last episode, the angel lady.
Yeah. But later on, we see Sam calls Dean, who tells him the theory about the hyacinths and that he has learned that Kara's ex-husband, the doctor, died of a heart attack. Dean accuses her of being the siren, but Sam's like, I don't believe it. I said great sex. Dean assumes that Sam has slept with her and takes him to task over it. He tells Sam he can't trust him and that he'll handle the investigation on his own. Sam throws the phone away, and Dean leaves a message for Bobby and then calls Nick for assistance. Dean and Nick watch the doctor arrive at a club. Dean describes, as Sam did with her, a version of the poisoning theory that maybe is something in the siren's saliva, and he and Nick share a hip flask of, well, I'm assuming it's whiskey. Nick reveals that it's definitely in the saliva, and that he has just poisoned Dean as they shared a drink. Nick is the siren we see as he looks in the mirror, and we see his ugly ass face. And he tells Dean that he can't trust Sam, and he needs to get him out of the way so he can be the perfect brother that Dean wants.
Yeah, that was a twist.
Yeah, it was. I forgot about that actually from the first time I saw this. But we see Sam going back to the hotel room. Dean grabs him and holds a knife to his throat, even cutting Sam on Nick's command. And Nick goes into this explanation of how high he gets from having people fall in love and kill for him. He then spits venom at Sam, infecting him. And he tells the brothers that he knows they have issues with each other and that they should fight it out. The survivor will be with him forever. And Dean, in a game meter of like 3, Dean tells Sam he feels that Sam has changed and knows that he's lying and hiding things from him. And Sam reveals the reason is that he wants to hunt Lilith and that Dean is not a strong enough hunter. He taunts him about his anguish over his time in hell, how he cries like a little bitch. And the boys fight, a decent fight actually, and they smash through the room door into the hall. Dean gets the better of Sam and is about to swing at him with a fire axe when Bobby appears and stabs him with a dagger. He then uses the dagger with Dean's infected blood on it to stab the siren. we see the siren die, and its true, ugly, fucking hideous form is revealed, and the spell is all good and broken. And the boys just look at you all like, fuck, again? But the next day, Bobby says his goodbyes to the boys, and they both apologize for the harsh words, claiming they had no lasting effect. And the episode just ends there. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a very Monster of the Week episode. That much I can say.
Not my favorite, not as bad as Bugs.
Yeah, not as bad as Bugs, that's for damn sure. But what would you rate it?
I'd give it a 3, if that too.
I'd give it a 3.1, just to be a little higher. But because sirens are a cool villain, I like that. I like that the names of all the strippers that the sirens were impersonating are based off Disney princesses.
Yeah, I think they could have done better with it, but
in the show, when they introduced themselves to the Doctor the first time, they're Agent Styles and Agent Murdoch, that's from this TV show in the '60s, Route 66.
Never even heard of that one.
I've heard of it. I never watched it. It's way before my time. And apparently, this episode is the same name as an episode from Dawson's Creek that Dean was in.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's an exploited song.
And this is actually apparently the first and only time a siren appears.
Huh.
And I love that they used Thunder Kiss 65 in the strip club. That was White Zombie. That's fucking awesome. But shit. Well, folks, that's our 2 Monster of the Week episodes for this week. I know it's been a lot of Monster of the Week episodes, but I'm pretty sure next week. Next week we have a story. I'm pretty sure we have a story episode.
Yeah, we did the week before. We did the Angel Demon cutoff one, right? So
no, that was 3 episodes ago. Last week we had 2 other last week we had 2 other Monster of the Week ones, but yeah, we have 2 story episodes coming up. So next week we'll have a little more in-depth, longer episode for you guys to watch. You guys remember we watched these a week ago too, so our memory's a little hazy at best.
Yeah.
But come back next week, folks, and we'll get back on Storyland mode here. But have a good one, everybody, and hope you all had a safe Devil's Night.
Take it easy.
You all fuck shit up. But have a good one, everybody.